I'm Susan Alexander. For those of you who don't know, I'm the contractor who's working on this Reuse Vermont project. Anne Bajour is the project manager for the state of Vermont. She's unable to be with us today, but we have Shannon Choquette and Sarah Hobson, who also work for the Department of Environmental Conservation and are key partners in this project. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of where we've been for the last couple of months, actually almost a year, so maybe 9 months we've been at this. And just kind of so as we can set expectations, because I think this project has the potential to go off in a lot of different directions, which is what makes it truly exciting and fun and amazing. But the current contract is pretty constrained, and we want to stay in that lane as much as we can while still encouraging all these other aspects and perspectives. And we want to be starting to think more wildly about what the next few steps are going to be. So for those of you who are joining us maybe for the first time or have been along for the ride, just a quick summary of where we're at. This is our third forum, and we've had a couple of amazing speakers at our previous forums. And we have 2 more joining us today, which is great. And we've been recording these forums, so they're on the new webpage that Shannon has put together. And if we have a few minutes at the end, Shannon, maybe you could put that web address, that link in the chat for people to check out the website. And we're going to encourage you to use that regularly to check in with what's happening on this network, but also to provide us input from what's happening in your world, so we can get some of those projects and events up on the website as well for everyone. We conducted a survey last summer of kind of a needs assessment to see where people thought we should go with this project. And we had some really good responses. The top 3 priorities is what we're trying to stay with right now in terms of forwarding this project, which are peer-to-peer connections. That was a high priority for people. Also, we noticed that there's a huge gap in the repair world in terms of skill training, and that was something that comes up still regularly as an issue. People love these repair fairs, but we've lost some of that skill and talent over the years. So training up on skills, peer-to-peer connections. And the third one is really kind of just helping to sort of change the narrative around consumption and helping consumers appreciate and think about reuse and repair first before they purchase new. I mean, we all need new things eventually, but there's so many opportunities to replace or repair what we already have with something that's already used all that energy and resources to be put together. And I had this great quote I read the other day. This woman's name is Tabby Booth, and she's actually an interior designer, but she uses a lot of reused furniture and vintage items, but also very quirky modern things in her design. And what I loved what she said was, I love the idea that everything you could possibly need already exists. You just need to find it. And I think that's so true, that there's just, in many places you can turn to find exactly what it is you need before you purchase new. So with that in mind, we want to kind of pursue consumer education, changing consumer behaviors maybe a little bit, and encouraging people to think about reuse and repair. So that was the survey. The third thing that we're working on, of course, is the conference that's coming up on April 9th. And really excited about that. Things are really starting to hum. We have Alex Eves coming in as a keynote speaker. We have some workshops. We have some activities. It will be a little bit structured, but it will also be a little unstructured. So we can really encourage that peer-to-peer networking during the conference. We have a draft agenda. The full agenda and full details will be coming very shortly. We're just working out the logistics on the registration site at this point. So stay tuned to that, April 9th at Vermont Technical College in Randolph. And beyond that, I put on the agenda, and I don't know if you all got to see at the bottom of the agenda, really a lot of this should be driven by all of you. I'm the contractor that can make things happen, but I don't run a reuse store and I don't repair things and I don't salvage. I love thrift shopping, so that's the only expertise I can bring. But for the most part, hearing from you, the people who are working in this space, is really what's the most important thing for me to drive what's next on our agenda. My contract with the state goes through the rest of the summer. We will be doing some other events, continuing with maybe a fourth forum and newsletter. But I'd love to hear from all of you at any time. You can put your comments in the chat today. You can email me. My email is out there, my phone number. Feel free to use that. It's a really exciting and fun project. And yeah, we really want the community, the reuse and repair community, to kind of be driving the direction. And ultimately, having some form of sustainable network beyond this particular project I'm working on. So do we think about a membership organization or a 501c3, something that will keep the connections going, find support, maybe do some advocacy? There's a lot of ways that we can promote reuse and repair, and it really is going to be a lot dependent on your creative thinking and telling us what needs exist out there in the reuse and repair community. I would encourage you to use the chat as we're going along. We do have a couple of speakers here today. I'm going to just check, do we have Jamie queued up here? Yep. Okay. It looks like Jamie's here. Thanks, Jamie. I first will apologize that I misspelled your name in the first announcement of this meeting. It's Mackenzie, not McGlenzie. I don't know how I did that, but not a great typist. So Jamie's here from Waterbury. She runs a store called Rise Up Refill. And this is just sort of like where I think we used to be in terms of bulk purchasing 25 years ago at all the co-ops. You know, the biggest part of the store was in refillable containers and bulk purchasing. And we've really gotten away from that. So much more packaging that's out there. So we asked Jamie if she could join us today and tell us a little bit about her story, where she came up with this idea and what her services are, and ask, maybe if we have time, we'll ask a couple of questions. But I'll turn it over to you, Jamie, and let's just roll with that.
Okay. Can I be heard?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, great. There she is.
Great. So I'm Jamie McKenzie. I'm the owner of Rise Up Refill, which is a small zero waste store here right in downtown Waterbury. I opened on March 1st, 2025. So I am closing in on my first year of business. And as you all probably know, there's lots of highs and lows in the first few years, but overall, it's been really well received, and I'm actually feeling like I'm starting to build some really great momentum within the community and some new things that I have in the works. But yeah, I opened this store because back in 2018, when I was driving around listening to NPR, I heard about the recycling and waste crisis. I learned about the Pacific Garbage Patch. I learned China was no longer accepting our recycling due to the immense amount, but also just like the poor quality and contamination. And instead of feeling really depressed about it, it empowered me to feel like, okay, this feels like something that we could all sort of have somewhat a little bit of personal control over in our own lifestyle. My daughter was 1 at the time, and I just felt like, you know, I want to leave the earth as best I can for her and set a good example. So that's when I started my own personal journey into zero waste, just trying to limit the amount of single-use plastic in particular that I was buying and throwing away. So I got very familiar with the practices. I got familiar with products that I really liked or didn't like. But what grew tiresome was I was primarily leaning on online subscriptions. you know, personal care products from this place, household products from here, and it was just kind of a piecemeal. Like you mentioned, Susan, the co-ops, they all do it to a certain degree in the home and body area, but never could I feel like I could go to one spot, see all the products firsthand, and buy everything I needed. And so when I was coming out of my postpartum period with my second child and figuring out what I wanted to do, it just felt like this was so needed in the state of Vermont, because there wasn't, at the time, nothing like this. So I went through a few different business model ideas, but ultimately landed here. I took over a little space here in downtown Waterbury, which has been great. You know, the exposure is really nice. People, you know, I'm right in the heart of people walking around, going to the different restaurants. And I specialize in home and body essentials. So what was really important to me was covering all the products that we use every single day on our, you know, on our bodies or in our homes. So it's everything from, you know, cleaning solutions, laundry detergents, dishwashing soap, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, dental hygiene products, menstrual products. You know, all of that stuff comes in bulk. I also carry a lot of plant-based products that are meant to be, you know, composted or reused before compost, you know, such as plant-based dish sponges and scrubby brushes and cloth paper towels. So things that just help us not rely on single-use plastic every time we come to the end of a product. Other things that just help us reduce waste using cloth paper that we can, you know, paper towels that we can then wash and use for years and years, besides instead of ordering and buying paper. So how it works is customers come in, they are encouraged to bring their own containers from home as long as they're clean and dry, but it can be any container. I also have what I call the container library under my Waste Station, which is a donation-based secondhand container program. So it might have had, you know, pasta sauce or salsa or something in it prior, but they're all clean and dry and free for people to take. And then, of course, I sell different varieties of glass and aluminum containers for purchase that then you can bring back and refill over and over again. It's definitely the most, you know, price point friendly to bring your own. But if you purchase a container from me, you're going to pay for that price first, and then the next time you'll only be paying for the product. I sell every bulk item by the ounce. There's just a couple things. I sell dishwashing machine tabs by the piece, or toilet cleaning bowl tabs by the piece, but otherwise everything is priced out by the ounce. And yeah, I mean, it's been wonderful. Most people have been really excited about bringing in their own containers. I mean, we all have so many mason jars floating around, or empty, you know, what was previously holding food jars in it. And so I've been able to see these really fun and funky purchases with, like, you know, all different kinds of secondhand upcycled materials being used again and again. So let's see. I also provide a little ongoing special recycling drop-off. These are free programs that I work with through Shaw's, TerraCycle, and the Eco Depot, which is located in Berlin. So I take stretchy plastic films, number 2 and number 4, any plastic razor and razor packaging, Crest oral care, toothbrush packaging and toothbrushes, baby squeeze pouches, and household batteries. So that's just a way to encourage people. I mean, what I'm finding is Vermonters want a place to bring things. They hate throwing things away. And so giving them that resource has been a great thing for me. It's getting people in the door. it's also, they're thrilled to be able to bring something to be specially recycled at the same time that they can refill their goods. I've also hosted, some different events, or like recently I did a drop your broken Christmas light for recycling through the Eco Depot, which was super popular as well. And so it's just a win-win, getting my brand exposure out there and people have a place to bring their stuff. So besides my in-store retail here, I did open up shipping within the Northeast last fall. I don't ship my big bulk items, but I have a lot of small, the cloth paper towels, the sponges, the toothpaste tablets, things that do ship quite light and easy. I also have 2 different satellite refill stations, one located in Colchester, Vermont at a friend's wellness center, and the other one is located in Waitsfield at a different massage center. Those sort of kind of came together organically. Both places had retail, elements to their business, and kind of reached out with the idea. And it's been great. It's passive income for me, but it's also great brand exposure. And it's also people that live, closer to Burlington or Mad River Valley have access to the basics: shampoo, conditioner, hand soap, detergents, things like that. So it's been great. The Mad River Valley satellite has connected me with a woman who manages 15 or more short-term rentals in Mad River Valley, and she's now started supplying all of the rentals with my refillable products, which has been really exciting. And I just think that's such a market that I'm really eager to tap into, because in my experience, staying at Airbnbs and vacation rentals, usually the products are terrible. They're toxic. They're, full of dyes and chemicals and plastic, of course. So I am continuing to reach out to other, property management companies, and hopeful that that is a thing that will be taking off. And then I am working with some local restaurants in the area. I have Blackback Pub now buying 45 pounds of dishwashing powder. I have a few different restaurants buying bulk hand soap for their bathrooms. So again, different avenues of not only building more business for me, but also just like the education piece, the closed loop piece of bringing these things back to me to be refilled. And that is one thing I forgot to mention, is the products that I carry, the companies that I work with, not all, but as much as possible, have closed loop systems. So I carry from a Rustic Strength, which is a company in Missouri, I have, 4 30-gallon drums of product that once they are empty can be sent back to be, cleaned, refilled, and then sent back to me. So a lot of the companies that I work with are built to cater zero waste stores like mine and have the closed loop system in place, which is great. So I think that's everything. If you want to reach out with questions now.
I'd say that's an awful lot. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been a busy year.
I can imagine. I just want to say that I think it's amazing that you went from hearing things on the radio to this inspiration. And not only have you built this store, but these evolving partnerships are really very, very cool, because it helps us all, I think, have convenient access, for one thing, that you're taking in other things. Like, I don't always have a chance to get to Berlin and bring all those funny little odd things that I collect, and they pile up. And your business partnering with the rentals and the yoga studios is, I think, a brilliant business model to be expanded upon. And I can't help but think, like, how cool it would be to have a sticker or something that people say, this is, reinforcing this is from Rise Up Refill. And I wish we had in every one of our larger communities a store like yours, because convenience is a huge part of our shopping habits. So Yeah,
Yes.
looks like we do have a couple of questions here. One was if you could share the exact locations of your satellite sites,
Sure.
if that's open
Yeah,
information.
I don't know the like street addresses, but the one in Colchester, Vermont is at the Wellness Collective. I believe it's off Roosevelt Highway, kind of near where like Costco is. But here, I can type it in just so you. And then the second one is Bridge and Main Massage in Waitsfield.
That's great.
Yeah, and of course it's like a mini version. Both are mini versions of what I am doing here. But it is a really great resource for, like, you need some plant-based biodegradable dish sponges or dish soap, or just shampoo and stuff. And you can't get in. It's a nice place to hit up. So
Yeah. It looks like we have another question here about the restaurants that you're working with. Do you just supply cleaning products, or do businesses buy recyclable bags, take out containers, etc.?
yeah, so right now it's just the cleaning and soap products. Um, I would love to see, and I don't know that I would necessarily take this on, but I would love to see in the Waterbury business or restaurant community and beyond a reusable closed loop system for takeout. But no, I think they order all that stuff separately. It's primarily been hand soap for the bathrooms, and they're they're also buying my glass refillable bottles that do have my brand on it, which is great. And then I had one restaurant buying 5 gallons of dish soap every few weeks, and then like I said, Blackback Pub is now buying bulk dish washing detergent. So
That's awesome. There's another question of, do you consider facilitating branches in Southern Vermont? And I know that you've taken on a lot in just this first year, but wouldn't that be amazing to see this expand? And I think that's one of the things that this network can do, is we can all go back home to our respective areas and be promoting this and connecting people with you by saying, hey, I know this person in Waterbury who's running this store who would, be willing to, maybe leave some stations at your facility to
yeah,
refill.
absolutely. I mean, I'm always looking for different partnerships. I definitely haven't expanded beyond, Waitsfield in terms of location, but yeah, I'm always open to talking to people and working with people. A woman came in yesterday who was like, "We need one of these in Montpelier, and you should franchise." And I was like, "Yes, I mean that would be amazing. Yeah, someday."
Someday, I'm sure we'll be reading about it in a few years. All the different locations you have across Vermont. Sounds like you've got a great mind for partnering and businesses. I absolutely love that you have a container library. I think that's great, because we all have containers, and while we can have opportunities to recycle them, I always just think they should be used again and again. And I have so many stored up in my basement. It's kind of ridiculous at this point, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like how we all had to get in the habit of bringing our own shopping bags to the grocery store.
Hmm.
This model of retail is definitely new to a lot of people, so they'll come in and be like, "Oh man, I forgot my jars at home," but that the free library is where that fits in perfectly, because there's no attachment to those jars. They're just
Right,
there. So
right.
yeah.
Well, if anyone does know of a restaurant or chain of restaurants that's actually, helping to work with more reusable containers, let us know. We'd love to bring them in for a conversation. Looks like one more comment there. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes. Yeah. I had somebody from the state, because of course the state complex is right near me where I'm
Of
located.
course. Yeah.
And I forget her name, but she was saying that, federally, there is a law where restaurants are it's totally legal to offer closed loop takeout containers where they, take them back to wash and then use them. And that she's really working on getting that established in Vermont because it is starting to take off in other places. I recently shared on social media a really cool company that's doing that within coffee shops for reusable stainless steel cups and like creating this network of where you can drop it off and pick it up and this whole thing. So it is totally possible. We just need the restaurant industry to really take that on. Yeah.
Jamie, I'm going to have to call it there because we have a couple more, but you've got some great points for us to think about. There's more questions. People are free to contact you, I assume, if you want to put your contact information in the chat there for people to see. Good luck. I hope I get to Waterbury soon and visit your store. I'd love to come in and visit with you and see what you have. And any way we can help promote you. I think one of the best things about this too is how it is a great example of how we can help build our local and circular economy right here in our own little community. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you guys have more questions for Jamie, she's going to give you her contact information or put them right in the chat. I think we all learn from each other by reading each other's questions as well. So, okay, let's switch over. We have going from reuse to repair, which is Kipton Tewksbury. I'm just going to see if I can find you here. Are you there, Kip? You may have to unmute if you're with us still.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. If everyone else can go on mute, we'll bring Kip on.
All right. Thank you. Sort of initially, communicating with Susan, I was asked to talk about essentially repair cafe things and related to it. And although Brattleboro has not had a repair cafe yet, we tried to just in 2020 thereabouts. We had support from the local solid waste management district, the local library. We had a good location that had parking for doing it, and we're just in the process of recruiting repairers and other people to be involved in it when essentially COVID shutdown happened. So we were unable to do that. We did get and still have a grant from Ben & Jerry's for $1,000 to do that. And so most recently, we and we've been people of Brattleboro Time Trade. John Lightfoot is here. He's one of them. Tony Duncan is another. They've both been communicating with the town of Brattleboro. We have a sustainability coordinator in Brattleboro, and with our local library, who has expanded their lending library to include, at the moment, garden-related things, garden tools. Again, so you don't have to buy them if you need any more exotic tool. So that's in line with that. So before I'm going to flash back to how my involvement started was another Time Trade member from Montpelier. What was then the Onion River Exchange, Eric Bachman, had been doing repair cafes in his area for a while. And I went up to visit one while it was going on, could see how they had it laid out, could see the different processes. And there's a repair cafe website that essentially provides all the organizing material, various forms you need for, permission forms, releases for people who do the repair, people who have repairs, forms that help guide, control, need flow coming into the repair cafe space, things like that. It while I was listening early to I thought that the repair cafe is only a a part of the larger promoting the larger reuse repair principles that Vermont is approaching. So it has the advantage that it's eminently visible. If there are places in Vermont, I know before in Montpelier, but who scheduled regular ones, regular repair cafes, but even once a year, twice a year, because it takes a lot to organize. Not only helps those people, who come to repair, but it spreads the word. Out of that you generate publicity. You can generate more discussion about this, and with the solid waste management districts involved, because they're of course very interested in limiting what comes through there, and they have contacts. Sometimes they have facilities. Recently in Brattleboro, a man who'd been doing for years and years and years building demolition and reconstruction and reuse. He had a shop years ago in Brattleboro that you could buy all different types of reusable building equipment, from glass to doors, screen, and you could also make a number of contacts there. For various reasons, that closed several years ago, but he has now reopened his a retail store where he will have these products, and he will definitely be on our list to talk to some more about maybe being able to carry other products or other means for repair and recycling. Let's see. I think at this point, it might be more useful if people have particular questions that I can answer. I'm sorry that Tony left, because he's been very involved recently with restarting that. So
That's a great introduction, Kipton. Thank you. I'm just curious to ask what your plans are for that Ben and Jerry's grant with the $1,000. Do you think you now will be able to find a location, the people who can fix those items, and pull that together? Is that still part of the plan?
Yes, that is part of the plan. We at first we're aiming for spring, but that's for the organization required. That's too soon. So we're targeting early fall, because we need to involve and pull together both the resources and ideas from people in the town of Brattleboro who are very much interested in this, I mean, the select board is, but and, as they say, we have a position for a sustainability coordinator who is very sharp and very aware, and we keep contact with him. We need to reopen discussions with our WSWMD, the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District, because there's different staff there now than when we were doing it before.
It looks like Bob has his hand up. From the solid waste district, now that you're mentioning it, he may want to ask you a question. Go ahead, Bob. You're on mute still. Try again, Bob. You're still on mute from what it looks like on my end. There we go.
All right. Hey, sorry about that. I have not met you, Ripton, and I'm the director of the Wyndham Solid Waste District here in Brattleboro, and I'd love to make, some time to get together.
Yeah, no, we definitely need to do that. We with your person who had your position about 4 years ago is a woman whose name I forget at the moment, very active and very interested. She was either outreach coordinator for you all, or
Yeah, we have had different staff people in that role, but
right. Anyway,
the other thing is Eric Kruger, you're talking about the deconstruction.
Right.
Did you just say he's opened a retail store again?
That's what I've seen online and on Facebook. Yes.
Okay.
He's opening and I can't tell whether it's the same location he was their Renew Salvage had been years ago or not, but
yeah, I remember. I used to use his facility. Yeah,
I did too.
It was amazing. You could buy a beautiful storm door or a solid oak door, for $30,
Carol bought some great windows. I was a building remodeler and contractor. And I used them all. The first place I'd go if I needed parts was to him. Now, since he's just been sort of independent, and I've known him for a long time, I just communicate with him directly to see, does he have this or that I might need. So this is a great advance, and we definitely should set up a time for me to meet with you and people who would be want to be involved in this kind of activity.
Well, thanks, Susan, for introducing my neighbor to me.
Yeah, really.
This is one of our top priorities. Is this peer-to-peer connection?
Community, but we often end up traveling in different circles.
So good. Yeah, making peer-to-peer connections is one of our highest priority, and I'm really excited that just happened. Bob, if you get Eric Kruger's information, if he has indeed opened a new store, send it to me, and we'll welcome him to the network. I did see there's a couple of questions here in the chat. Oh, okay. So John has already answered, but do repairers charge for their services at a cafe? And John saying at Brattleboro Timeshare, there is no charge. Is there anyone else have experience with other charges? I know oftentimes there's a donation, buy them cookies or something. Brad, looks like you have your hand up. Go ahead, Brad.
Yes, I've participated in a couple of repair clinics, more central Vermont. I live in Fayston, Waitsfield. The challenge for me is I'm pretty good at inspect, detect, and correct is briefly what I do. I'm pretty good at that. And I could have joined any one of the subjects. I chose electrical appliances. There were others that did maybe garden tools. Somebody else might have done computers and such like that, electronics. With appliances, people might bring in a vacuum cleaner. The problem is trying to get instructions, what are the parts? I need a parts diagram. How do I take this thing apart? and it could take a long time. It might be a part, then you got to find the part, which I'm pretty good at, but sometimes I'm finding more and more parts are obsolete. I'm dealing with this right now. A company called Fantech makes whole house ventilation systems. And one I installed a little over a decade ago has a failure, and trying to get the part is, oh, it's discontinued. So that's one of the big challenges of the repair clinic. There was no charge. If there was an appliance that needed a new plug, if it needed a new something that's available at the hardware store just down the road, I would write it out. I'd say, go to the hardware store and get me this part or these parts, bring them back, and I'll put them in. Repair clinics typically lasted like an afternoon, maybe 3 hours. I would bring a basic toolkit and some really basic repair parts is the way it operated. You would come in, there would be a greeter at the entry desk, and you would check in, sign that release form, and a brief, what are you looking for? What's the problem? And then that greeter would assign you to one of the tables around the room to the next in line.
So
I would like
Go
to
ahead,
mention,
Brad.
somebody brought up the suggestion. I am getting older, and I have all of these skills that people don't want to get into, that like fixing things. I would love an opportunity to work with people to learn those skills. How do you go about trying to figure out what's wrong with this and how do you fix it?
I love
And-
that. I love that, Brad. I think that that's a great topic for us to think about. Next steps for this network is how do we actually build these skill sets? Because that does come up quite a bit when we talk about repair fairs. I just want to, I'm being mindful of time here, remind people that the website that Shannon has been putting together is a great place to send information in so that these repair fairs can be advertised. Also, kudos to some of the solid waste districts who have really developed templates and modules for people who are interested in doing a repair fair, whether it's in concert with a solid waste district or just through their community, through their library. I see one that's happening up in the Northwest Solid Waste District area being hosted at the St. Albans Museum. So like there are a lot of community partners out there who value these programs, not only to get things fixed and repaired and pass on some skill sets perhaps, but also because it does build community. And I've heard a lot of people say that they're just fun places to come together, meet your neighbors. It's also important to recognize that a lot of these people do have their own home businesses or their cottage industries that they do. And so that's a way to find out, you know, oh, I never knew my neighbor runs a small appliance repair shop in his basement. So if I don't reach them on these limited hours of a repair fair, that I know how to find them. When this in our household the other day, the coffee maker broke, which is tragic for my husband and didn't bother me in the least because I don't drink coffee. But when you want your coffee, you want your coffee, and finding somebody to repair your coffee maker as opposed to going online, you can have a new coffee maker in a day and a half. Finding someone who will fix it is weeks. Okay, so thank you everyone for any other hand raising for anybody other have more questions? I like this comment from Jamie in the chat. High school and trade schools, and we have thought about that too, how you know, our current situation for Vermont is we've really understaffed and under supported our trade schools, and we're finding out how much more important those skill sets really are, especially when we got settled into COVID and people realize having people who can come and fix things that are broken, yeah, was harder and harder to do. And then somebody else has put in a comment here. Thanks, Mary, about YouTube videos on how to repair things. I like that a lot, Mary, because someone just told me when I asked them how to thread my 100-year-old sewing machine, they told me to go on YouTube and find out. So that's a great tool for people to learn as well. I don't want to cut off the comments if anyone else has it. We have a few minutes left for some housekeeping. Okay. Keep putting things in there. Keep putting your comments in there. That's great. Yes, the French press. There we go. We'll work on that. So what's next? Shannon, if you're still available, do you want to just talk about the website for a couple of minutes? Just what you're doing and how people can access it?
Yeah,
Put
absolutely.
you on
So
the
I did,
spot there.
yeah, no, it's okay. I did put the link in the chat, and so I'll share my screen just to get people an idea of what we're thinking. So ultimately, we've talked a lot about how there has to be some website, some place where this information is, and with Susan, I'm trying to consider, the best way to design a website so that if someone says like, what resources are actually in my area, they can go to this website. And what I'm pretty sure it will be is okay, so the beginning of the page is about the reuse network. And here you can see I have listed some upcoming repair fairs. And so I hope to have information on this page, I think by region. So there'll be basically, like accordion expandable portions of the web page that will have a directory of different repair programs, organizations. And so, yeah, ultimately, like I think now would be if we could spend a few times sort of talking about if people were to go to a website, what they would expect to see, how they would like what would make the information easy to get from the website. I don't think it's a bunch of text like I have here currently, but this web page is under construction. And so again, I'll have the community newsletters, the meeting recordings, and I will have an additional page for the reuse conference once we have that agenda, all detailed out. But yeah, ultimately the goal is to have a place where we list repair events that we're made aware of. So it's really important that when people are hosting repair events that they let me know. Obviously, we can see here there is one happening on the 31st that I haven't been able to add in yet, but I will include that in here later today. Yeah, and just anything that you would like to see on a website. I'm open to hearing people's suggestions.
Great, thanks, Shannon. There are some options now for people if you're looking for reuse and repair services through the Front Porch Forum directory until we have a real robust directory. That's a other place that you can look. It's actually a searchable database, so you can go onto your Front Porch Forum page, top right, it says directory. I've been on it for years and I never knew this until someone pointed it out to me. And then you can search for a geographic region, you can search for a specific type of repair or reuse that you're looking for. And it's really up to the individual businesses or community organizations to put your information in there. And just like any website, to make it more searchable, the better you describe your business, the more likely it is to come up when someone does a search. So that's another way to use it. But a directory, I have to say, other than training and peer-to-peer networking, a directory has been one of the most commonly asked for things. If people want to be able to do it, they just don't know how to find the information. And like I said, when it's convenient to pick up the laptop and order something and it's there within a day or two versus struggling to find where something is happening 3 months from now, we really bump up against convenience as an issue in terms of being more successful in doing reuse and repair. So just a couple of things I want to mention too before we end. It looks like we have a few minutes left. it's come up a couple of times in this meeting already, which is the use of the lending libraries. Encourage people to reach out to those because they do have a lot of things that they will lend you, just like you can check out a book. And it can be as simple as, you know, a Mickey Mouse shaped cake pan because you only have a 4-year-old's birthday party once and then you don't need it again. To like tools for your house, drills, or things like tennis rackets. You just want to go see if you want to try tennis or snowshoeing. So libraries are a great place for people to point the community to libraries. There's also the maker spaces, which are, I think, a big partner in our reuse and repair world that often host mending circles or have opportunities to print to 3D printing something that will help you accomplish, you know, whatever you're trying to repair. So reach out to those lending libraries and maker spaces. And if you are familiar with them and you work with them, send them to us as well. We'd like to include them in this this listserv in this network because it is so diverse in terms of the number of different ways that people approach reuse, and we want to make people understand that this is a big tent under which everyone is welcome. Now, not everybody wants to know how to mend a sock or fix a light bulb, but a lot of people do, and the more we share, the better. So just leave you with those thoughts. We've got a couple minutes left. If anyone has any other thoughts or questions, announcements, I see that we have Alex Eves here. Welcome, Alex. Alex will be our keynote speaker coming in April to Randolph, Vermont. It's a good time of year to come to Vermont. You don't want to be here this weekend. It's going to be bitter, bitter cold. But we're really excited about having you here, Alex, who is a master reuser. All right, I'm looking at the chat. I'm not seeing anything. I just say thank you all. Yeah, I'm just checking one last time. Okay, thanks everyone. Appreciate you all being here today. Put April 9th on your calendar. The registration should open sometime in the next week. We're just having a little glitch right now with figuring out the registration process and lining it up with proper banking. So, but it'll be coming soon, and we encourage you to look at the agenda once it's up. And we're always looking for folks to help present at these forums. We will have some opportunities at the conference if anyone wants to do like a 5 or 6 minute lightning talk on what they do, a story about their reuse or repair journey. And then we're also going to have some panelists. So if you have a panelist you'd like to attend and participate in a conversation about all things reuse, repair, share, whatever, let me know and we can approach them. So everybody go out, have a great afternoon, and then snuggle up for the next couple of days. Good time to stay home with some movies. Thank you all.
Sorry, I'm just copying the chat here.
Yep.
Copy
Okay,
the
we
notes
can
here real quick.
leave it open a little bit more.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for
course.
doing all this. This is great.
Yeah, tell me who you are, Andy. I know the name, I recognize it, but how do I know you?
I'm the program coordinator for the Greater Upper Valley Solid Waste District.